Everybody, retirement does not fall apart in one day, but it does leak. And think of your retirement portfolio, think of it like a hot air balloon that's on a 30-year journey across this beautiful country. And for 40 years, what did you do? You filled up that balloon, you filled it with hope and dreams, with disciplined savings, long work weeks, missed weekends with the family, and those someday dreams. And then you finally retire, dum da da da. You step into the basket. Everything looks calm, but here's what almost no one tells you. The balloon can have a slow leak. There'll be no explosion, no dramatic crash, no warning siren, no hissing sound, just a gradual loss of altitude. A little inflation here, a small tax there, a slightly higher Medicare premium, an extra 1% in fees. How about a poorly timed withdrawal? And 5 of those 10 years, or 5 to 10 years later, you're lower than you expected. Vanguard's 2025 and 2026 research identifies where these leaks are happening. Today, we're going to attempt to patch them. I'm not a product salesman, but I am a retired captain that spent 35 years at American Airlines, who I'm not representing in this video. And I've navigated this transition personally. These shows are for retirees who want systems, not sales pitches or gimmicks. They want systems built around health and wealth and travel and the products that actually make this stage of our lives much better. And let's begin with the most dangerous leak of all, which is called sequence of return risk. Vanguard's data shows that the first 36 months of any retirement, those would be the most fragile period of your entire retirement journey. And why? Because losses compounded with withdrawals create structural damage to your portfolio and the balloon that you're in. And let's run the math clearly. You retire with $1 million in the bank. Lucky you. Year one, the market declines, goes into bear market territory. It's down to $800,000. You still need $50,000 to live on. And you got to withdraw it. So what does that bring you down to? $750,000. Now here's the part that most people misunderstand. And to recover from that $750,000 back to $1 million requires not a 20% gain. You got it. It's a 33% gain. And that's including no additional withdrawals. Sequence risk is about average return. It's about timing. 2 retirees can have the exact same 30-year average return and end up in radically different positions based solely on when those losses occurred. And that's the value of sequence of return risk. And this is not emotional, this is mechanical. But the patch is straightforward. Vanguard says hold 2 to 3 years of expenses in stable, non-volatile reserves, such as cash, money market reserves, short-term bonds. Not because cash is an investment, but because cash, and you have to change your mind here a little bit, think of it as insurance. And insurance is not designated or designed to grow. It is designed to protect. And when markets fall, you've got to live off the basket. You do not touch the envelope that your balloon is hanging from. You preserve altitude. Now let's talk about the second leak, and of course that would have to be taxes, wouldn't it? Most retirees believe that they will automatically move into a lower tax bracket upon retirement, and there's a certain amount of truth to that. But the reality, of course, is more complex. RMDs begin to kick in at 73, eventually 75. And let's say you retire at 63, and that gives you a 10-year window. Those are your gap years. Here is a realistic example of a married couple retiring with $1 million in traditional retirement accounts. At age 73, a 4% RMD is roughly $48,000. Add in Social Security benefits, add in dividend income, add in interest. Do you have a pension? And suddenly you're in taxable income territory. Now, layer in IRMA. If a modified adjusted gross income crosses certain thresholds, premiums increase per person per month. And that's not a one-time hit. That's a recurring expense, folks. The tax temperature rises slowly like a frog in a boiling pot. There'll be no explosion, no pressure release. The patch must happen before the pressure builds. Gap year planning, strategic Roth conversions, intentional income smoothing. You pay taxes when you choose to. Leak number 3, and that would be fees. And this one is brutally simple. If your employer plan charged you 0.2% and you roll into a structure now charging you 1.2%, that's a 1% differential, and that compounds yearly. And let's look at $1 million, $10,000 in 1 year, over 20 years, assuming modest growth. That can represent hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost capital. No drama, just drag. Lowering fees does not require market genius. It does require awareness, expense ratios, advisory layers, fund structures. Removing 1% in cost is like cutting a heavy sandbag loose from that basket that you're hanging from. Altitude improves without the burner even changing. Leak number 4. And this would be the allocation gap. This is where fear does the most damage to your portfolio. Many retirees move aggressively into CDs and bonds and cash upon retirement. Because why? Well, it feels good, it feels safe. But inflation does not go on retirement or vacation. At 3% inflation, your charging power is cut in half by year 24 of your retirement. At a 3% inflation rate, your purchasing power is cut roughly in half in about 24 years. If you retire at 65, that matters deeply at age 89. Vanguard suggests that even in retirement, many portfolios require 30 to 50% in equities. And that's not to gamble, and it's not to speculate, I guess they're the same thing. It's there to maintain lift. Equities are the burner, and without enough heat, the balloon will slowly descend. Too much heat creates volatility. Too little heat generates erosion. And balance matters. Now let's talk about leak number 5, which is behavioral drift. This one is personal for me because in 2008, I personally watched markets fall by more than 50%, peaks to trough. Then came March 2020, markets dropped another 30% in mere weeks, 34% in mere weeks. Many investors sold near the bottom because selling feels like you protected yourself, but it converts temporary volatility into permanent loss. Vanguard's research shows disciplined rebalancing can add approximately 1% annually over long periods. 1% per year over 20 years compounds significantly. Rebalancing, it's not emotional, it is structural. You sell what has grown beyond your target. You buy what has declined below your target. Systems over feelings. Now, let's add in longevity. If you retire at 62 and you live to 92, God bless you, that's 30 years. 30 years include multiple recession rate cycles, political cycles, election returns, tax law changes, and inflation periods. A portfolio must survive not just markets, it must survive time. Time is the longest runway in retirement. This is not about chasing the highest return, it's about avoiding mechanical failure, sequence risk, tax creep, fee drag, allocation imbalance. How about those behavioral mistakes? Each one, they seem manageable, but you combine them over decades, they create what we call parasitic drag in the airplane. So here is your self-audit. Do you have 2 to 3 years of stable reserves? Have you modeled RMD stacking and IRMA exposure? Do you know your blended expense ratio? Is your equity allocation sufficient for a 30-year horizon? When did you last rebalance? Retirement rarely collapses in one dramatic event. It leaks. Small issues, unaddressed, compound quietly. Patch them early. Cut the weight. Maintain the burner. Monitor altitude. And before we close, if this has helped you, to help you think more clearly, leave a comment below. I read every comment and respond personally every Sunday. If something in your situation feels unclear, ask it down there. And I do publish a new episode every Saturday at around 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you want to drill deeper into sequence of return issues, IRMA, Roth conversions, allocation structures, or fee audits, visit my channel and take a look at the directory. The systems are organized there. Retirement does not need heroics, but it does need structure. It leaks slowly, fix it early. Now get busy living. Hey boomers, thanks for listening. And remember my motto, health is wealth, wealth is freedom. So go get your steps in, guys. Thanks for listening to me. Go get busy living.